Hi, Year 4. I hope you can hear me. This chapter is called The Egg Sac. The next morning, when the first light came into the sky and the sparrows stirred in the trees, when the cows rattled their chains and the roosters crowed and the early automobiles went whispering along the road, Wilbur woke and looked for Charlotte. He saw her up overhead in a corner near the back of his pen. She was very quiet. Her 8 legs were spread out wide. She seemed to have shrunk during the night. Next to her, attached to the ceiling, Wilbur saw a curious object. It was a sort of sack or cocoon. It was peach-colored and looked as though it was made of candy floss. "Are you awake, Charlotte?" he said softly. "Yes," came the answer. "What's that nifty little thing? Did you make it?" "I did indeed," replied Charlotte in a weak voice. "Is it a plaything?" "Plaything? I should say not. It's my egg sac, my magnum opus." "I don't know what a magnum opus is," said Wilbur. "That's Latin," explained Charlotte. "It means great work. This egg sac is my great work, the finest thing I have ever made." "What's inside it?" asked Wilbur. "Eggs?" 514 of them," she replied. 514? said Wilbur. "You're kidding." "No, I'm not. I counted them. I got started counting, and so I just kept on to keep my mind occupied." "Oh, it's a very beautiful egg sac," said Wilbur, feeling as though he had constructed it himself. "Yes, it is pretty," replied Charlotte, patting the sac with her 2 front legs. "Anyways, I can guarantee it's strong. I made it out of the toughest material I have. It's also waterproof. The eggs are inside, and they will stay warm and dry." "Charlotte," said Wilbur dreamily, "are you really going to have 514 children?" "If nothing happens, then yes. Of course, they won't show until next spring." Wilbur noticed that Charlotte's voice sounded sad. "What makes you so downhearted? I should think you'd be terribly happy about this." "Oh, don't pay attention to me," said Charlotte. "I don't have much pep anymore. I guess I feel sad because I won't ever see my children." "What do you mean you won't see your children? Of course you will. We'll all see them. It's going to be wonderful next spring in the barn cellar with 514 baby spiders running around all over the place. The geese will have a new set of goslings. The sheep will have their new lambs." "Maybe," said Charlotte quietly. "I, however, have a feeling I'm not going to see the result of last night's efforts. I don't feel good at all. I think I'm languishing, to tell you the truth." Wilbur didn't understand the word languish. He hated to bother Charlotte asking her to explain, but he was so worried he felt like he had to ask. "What does languishing mean?" "It means I'm slimming up. I'm feeling my age. I'm not young anymore, Wilbur. But I don't want you to worry about me. This is your big day today. Look at my web. Doesn't it show up well with the dew on it?" Charlotte's web had never looked more beautiful than it looked this morning. Each strand held dozens of bright drops of early morning dew. The light from the east struck it and made it plain and clear. It was a perfect piece of designing and building. In another hour or two, a steady stream of people would pass by, admiring it, reading it, and looking at Wilbur, marveling at the miracle. As Wilbur was studying the web, a pair of whiskers and a sharp face appeared. Slowly, Templeton dragged himself across the pen and threw him down in the corner. "I'm back," he said in a husky voice. "What a night!" The rat was swollen to twice his normal size. His stomach was as big around as a jam jar. "What a night," he repeated hoarsely. "What feasting and carousing! A real gorge. I must have eaten the remains of 30 lunches. Never have I seen such leavings. Everything well ripened, seasoned with passage of time and heat of the day. Oh, it was rich, my friends, rich." "You ought to be ashamed of yourself," said Charlotte in disgust. "It would serve you right if you had an acute attack of indigestion." "Don't worry about my stomach," snarled Templeton. "It can handle anything. And by the way, I've got some bad news. As I came past the pig next door, the one that calls himself uncle, I noticed a blue tag on the front of his pen. That means you won first prize. I guess you're licked, Wilbur. You might as well relax. No one's going to hang any medal on you. Furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised if Zuckerman changes his mind about you. Wait until he gets a hankering for some fresh pork, smoked ham, and crispy bacon. He'll take the knife to you, my boy." "Be still, Templeton," she said. "You're too stuffed and bloated to know what you're saying." "Don't pay any attention to him, Wilbur." Wilbur tried not to think about what the rat had just said, and he decided to change the subject. "Templeton," said Wilbur, "if you weren't so dopey, you would have noticed that Charlotte has made an egg sac. She's going to become a mother. And for your information, there are 514 eggs in that peachy sack." "Is that true?" asked the rat, eyeing the sack suspiciously. "Yes, it is," sighed Charlotte. "Congratulations. This has been a night." He closed his eyes, pulled some straw over himself,